Carl Jung believed that not all souls are built the same. Some people live with a differentiated soul, a psyche so finely tuned that ordinary love, ordinary conversation, and ordinary life feel somehow incomplete. These are the individuals who experience love not as a pastime, but as an initiation, a spiritual crucible that exposes the soul's most hidden dimensions. To most, love is possession, comfort, routine, but to the differentiated soul, love is revelation, a mirror that reflects the depths of who they are and who they could become. Transcendent love isn't about finding the perfect partner. It's about encountering a person who activates something ancient within you, an archetype, a hidden potential, a fragment of the divine. You love them not because they complete you, but because through them, you remember what completion means. This type of love rarely works in a conventional sense. It defies timing, logic, and compatibility. It is often unrequited, distant, or impossible. Yet, in its impossibility, it awakens something real, the awareness that love isn't meant to make you comfortable, it's meant to make you conscious. The differentiated soul chooses depth over convenience, authenticity over comfort, truth over attachment, and that choice often leads to solitude, but it's the sacred solitude of one who has tasted something eternal. For these individuals, relationships that lack depth feel like starvation. The mundane rhythm of ordinary affection cannot satisfy the hunger of a soul that's seen beyond the veil. They don't seek intensity for the thrill of it, they seek it because it's the only thing that feels real. In Jung's view, this is not a pathology, it's evolution, a sign that the psyche has matured beyond transactional love into something archetypal, something divine. The differentiated soul is not broken. They are simply wired for a kind of intimacy that few can sustain. Jung called this pattern the wounded healer. Those who love deeply and lose profoundly are not cursed, they're being initiated. Each heartbreak becomes a rite of passage, each loss a lesson in sovereignty, to love without possessing, to value without controlling, to honor without claiming. This is the essence of mature love. It's not about merging into another person, it's about learning to stand so firmly in your own being that you can love freely without fear of disappearance. Most people equate unfulfilled love with failure. But the wounded healer knows that impossible love is often the soul's way of introducing you to your own sacred power, the ability to hold affection and detachment in the same breath. Psychological maturity is born in this tension, the ability to love someone completely while accepting that they may never be yours. It's a paradox that reshapes the ego, humbles it, and expands it. In Jung's framework, such love isn't random. It's archetypal. The beloved becomes a vessel for your own unconscious, carrying pieces of you that you've forgotten or rejected. When you love them, you are, in truth, falling in love with what you could become. This is why separation hurts so deeply. You're not just losing them, you're losing the mirror that revealed your unlived potential. But if you endure the pain consciously, something alchemical happens. The love that was once directed outward begins to radiate inward. You become your own beloved, and in that transformation, the wound becomes medicine. Every impossible love hides a secret purpose. It arrives not to fulfill you, but to awaken you. The unconscious recognizes something in the other person, an archetypal energy, a symbolic reflection of your undeveloped potential. They become a living metaphor of what your soul is trying to integrate. Perhaps they embody courage where you've been timid, or freedom where you've been confined, or tenderness where you've armored your heart. The chemistry you feel isn't merely romantic, it's psychological magnetism. Your soul is trying to reclaim what it has projected. When we encounter these psychological catalysts, our defenses crumble. The intensity of the connection strips us bare. You can't pretend, you can't hide, you can't perform, because the person you can't have has already seen your essence. Jung observed that such encounters are rarely meant to last in the physical sense. They exist to dissolve your illusions, to destroy the false stories you've built around who you think you are. Through heartbreak, you learn authenticity. Through longing, you learn humility. Through pain, you learn depth. The greatest irony is that the person who breaks your heart is often the same one who opens it, and when the initial fire burns away, what remains is gold, psychological gold. You discover that the love wasn't about them at all. It was about the parts of your soul they awakened, the artist, the mystic, the philosopher, the lover that's been sleeping inside you for years. The differentiated soul eventually realizes that every impossible love is a divine summons, a call to meet yourself on a deeper level. When the fire cools and the fantasy dissolves, something extraordinary emerges, detached compassion. It's the ability to care without clinging, to love without needing, to hold someone in your heart even when they are no longer in your life. This is the stage of emotional sovereignty. You no longer seek love as validation, but as expression. You stop asking, "Who will love me?" and start asking, "How can I embody love itself?" The pain of loss refines the heart. It teaches you that love isn't an exchange, it's a state of being. You begin to understand that love was never meant to belong to anyone. It flows through you like light through glass, illuminating whoever stands before you. This form of love doesn't weaken you, it fortifies you. You can face rejection without collapse. You can experience longing without despair. You become anchored, not because you no longer feel, but because you've learned how to hold feeling without drowning in it. The differentiated soul doesn't escape emotion, they master it. They learn to observe the rise and fall of desire, attachment, and fear with equanimity. They see that love's truest expression is freedom, the willingness to let another person be fully themselves, even if it means walking away. This is the threshold of spiritual maturity, to love without agenda, to give without expectation, to see the sacred even in loss. This is what Jung meant by individuation. The realization that you are whole, even when love doesn't look the way you hoped it would. In this awareness, heartbreak becomes initiation, and what once felt like the end of a love story becomes the beginning of a deeper relationship, the one you have with your own soul. There are moments when two souls meet and time itself seems to hold its breath. These are fateful encounters, archetypal meetings orchestrated by something far beyond chance. You recognize the other person not with your mind, but with your being. It's not attraction in the usual sense, it's remembrance, a feeling that says, "I've known you before, though I cannot say how." This recognition can be ecstatic or devastating, depending on your level of consciousness. For the undifferentiated soul, it can lead to obsession, a desperate attempt to merge with what feels divine. But for the differentiated soul, it becomes a sacred mirror, an opportunity to witness their own spiritual potential reflected through another's eyes. These encounters are catalysts for transformation. They teach discernment, how to distinguish between projection and truth, between fantasy and genuine connection. They teach sovereign vulnerability, the courage to open fully, while remaining whole within yourself. Through them, you begin to understand that love is not about possession, it's about recognition. It's about saying, "I see your essence, and I will not distort it to feed my hunger." The differentiated soul often walks alone because few can meet them at this depth. They crave truth more than comfort, meaning more than pleasure, and authenticity more than attachment. But this solitude isn't emptiness, it's space. Space where the soul matures, where love evolves from longing into wisdom. Eventually, this journey shapes a new kind of lover, the conscious lover, one who can hold desire without losing integrity, who can merge without disappearing, and who can love without needing to own. Jung believed that individuals capable of transcendent love serve a transpersonal function, meaning their experience benefits not only themselves but the collective evolution of human consciousness. Every heartbreak they survive expands humanity's understanding of love itself. They become living examples of what it means to love without fear, to see beauty without demand, to stand in the tension between attachment and freedom and not turn away. These are the love revolutionaries, souls who prove that love can exist beyond ego, beyond possession, beyond time. They embody a frequency of affection that heals rather than harms, that liberates rather than binds. Their pain becomes purpose. Their longing becomes prayer, their solitude becomes service. By living through the alchemy of impossible love, they learn to radiate compassion without condition. Their very presence becomes medicine, a reminder that love is not a resource to be acquired, but a consciousness to be awakened. Such individuals change the atmosphere of every room they enter. They listen deeper, feel deeper, and see others not for what they can provide, but for what they truly are, fragments of the divine, walking around in human form. In Jungian terms, they've achieved integration between the ego and the self. A state where love no longer depends on external objects. Because it has become an inner state of wholeness. Impossible love was never a mistake, it was the initiation that taught them what love actually is, and once you've known love in its transcendent form, you can never return to imitation, you can only continue evolving, becoming a vessel for a love that is vast, unconditional, and sacred. The differentiated soul may not always find the partner they dreamed of, but they find something greater. Union with the divine within themselves, and from that place, they no longer chase love, they are love.